Da, 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 da. Hello, Potter fans, and welcome to our 5th Harry Potter audio fan commentary, where today myself and Jack, the film fanatic, commentate on the 5th film in the Harry Potter saga, based on the fucking humongous 5th novel, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, directed by David Yates.
Funnily
Yeah.
enough, the longest book in the whole series.
Yeah, it's funny because at the time it came out, longest book, shortest film. But then, when Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out, that changed that. Yeah, this was at the time. Yeah, it's still the longest book and so the most difficult to adapt. And we have a new director, David Yates, and he will stay with the series until now he's still the current director in this franchise, which is quite surprising.
A greedy bastard. Joking.
Yeah, I mean, this film was released in 2007, so 12 years ago.
Wow.
Which is quite hard to believe, actually, that it's 12 years old. It really is. Yeah, and obviously starring all the usual people: Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Ralph Fiennes, Robbie Coltrane, Michael Gambon, and many, many more. And some new characters, but we'll get to that shortly. As before, non-profit commentary. We're not doing this for money. We're just fans commentating on this film. Can't show the picture due to legal reasons. But if you want to follow along with us, put your DVD or Blu-ray in, put the time to 0, and yeah, let's follow along. So, Jack, do you want to mention anything before we begin?
No. No, not really. Just get ready for the Order of the Phoenix, bitch.
Okay, let's do this. Do you want to do the countdown?
You go ahead for this one.
Okay, fair enough. 3, 2, 1. Expelliarmus. Expelliarmus. Ooh. Warner Brothers logo is looking very dark.
Where's the sign?
Yeah, that's probably the darkest opening. Like in terms of the logo, it's never been lit more darkly.
Yeah.
Order of the Phoenix is a lot darker than the previous installments, book and film. I mean, the Goblet of Fire was where things really got intense. I mean, this film is pretty heavy stuff. Forget the Chris Columbus airy fairy. We are in dark territory now.
Oh, airy fairy! Oh. How dare you!
And I like this opening. We just sort of see Harry quite, almost isolated, and that's kind of the main theme of this film, is like Harry's isolation. He's at the age of adolescence, but also he's alone because of the events of the story. Everybody's conspiring against him.
I have to say it's quite interesting because his hair is a lot shorter than it was in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, he's lost the mop.
Oh God, Dudley's become a fucking gangster.
Yes, blood.
Hey, bruv. I'm in a gang now, bruv.
Thank you, Cedric. No, he's oh God, yeah. This was the year when Robert Pattinson got involved in Twilight, I think.
Dudley's a dickhead.
Yeah. 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 Ooh, the lighting just dramatically changed.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to see the sort of drastic change in his look in this film, because in Goblet of Fire his hair was very long. Here it's probably the shortest it's ever been so far.
Yeah, and I think it's fine though, because I think at that sort of age, everybody is experimenting with their look. I mean, I used to have quite long hair as well. I still sometimes do have long hair, but you know,
Yeah.
it's nice to kind of change it up every so often.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my reviews back from like 2016, my hair was really fucking long. All I'll say is I don't want to go back to that look. God. Yeah.
This is really creepy. This scene. I think David Yates is a director who does actually do dark films quite well. He's very good
Funny
at
enough, I can't really remember this opening scene that much, but it's interesting to rewatch it now because I mean, it is quite a good opening of the film. I mean, actually, that opening shot I forgot to mention kind of reminded me a bit of the opening shot for Chamber of Secrets, where you go down from the clouds to the set of houses.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the Dementors, they've changed them in this one. They've kind of given them more, like, you know,
They
physicality.
look a little bit more like mummies in this one.
Yeah, you're right, actually, they do.
This is where Dudley. I mean, it kind of pisses me off because in the in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, they cut out the scene where Dudley apologizes to Harry.
Yeah, and I'm really pissed off about that.
Because this is the scene where he saved Dudley's life,
Yeah.
And this kind of gives Dudley kind
Yeah,
of.
a reason to grow up, really, because Dudley was, yeah, he was very immature. I think by Deathly Hallows, Dudley is really sort of turned a corner.
Yeah. And I like that. I mean, I am pissed off it was cut out as well. I mean, I haven't seen the film, but I knew that scene was cut out. I was kind of.
Yeah, because it's in the book.
I was
Yeah.
kind of annoyed that the Dursleys didn't all apologize to Harry like they did in the book. Because I remember in the book, Harry arrives home at the Dursleys' home, and Petunia says like, "Oh, what a wonderful boy! What a lovely boy! You're a great boy, Harry." And
Yeah.
and then they kind of cut that out for Deathly Hallows. They cut out the scene where Dudley apologized, and Aunt Petunia, and
Yeah. Well, there was a scene filmed with Petunia and Harry, but it wasn't so much an apology. It was more like she was like, "Oh, I've lived in this house for 20 years, and now we're having to leave." And Harry's like, "Well, they'll torture you. They're going to kill you. They're after me. He's like, "It's to keep you safe." So they I guess, make amends. But yeah, Vernon eating the ice cream.
Yeah. It's sad that Richard Griffiths is gone now.
Yeah, I mean, he actually he looks quite big in this film. Do you think he's put on a little bit since The Prisoner of Azkaban?
He actually, this may sound a bit weird, but he looks a little bit ill in this film. In his face, he looks a little bit ill, in my opinion. But I don't know.
I think he's gained a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a few more years in him. Bless him.
Yeah.
The effects here with the envelope.
This may sound a bit weird, but the envelope effect in Chamber of Secrets look better, but this is still good. No, I mean, it's kind of sad Richard Griffiths passed away. I mean, I think, to be honest, it was probably down to the fact that he was very obese. I mean, maybe he should have lost some weight, to be honest, but, it's sad that he's gone, because he's a great actor. I mean, I loved him as, he's just great in these films.
Just Dudley.
Actually, I agree with you. He does look like he's put on weight. He does look a lot fatter. And he does look a little slightly more pale, a little bit ill in the face, but yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to have him there. I mean, because the Dursleys were absent from the Goblet of Fire. which I think was fine for the movie, which was totally fine.
That's true. I mean, to be honest, do you think the Dursleys would grow up by this time and just accept Harry for who he is? But yeah.
I like the fact that essentially Harry in this film is going through PTSD. He's kind of still haunted by the death of Cedric and Voldemort's return.
Harry looks a lot older in this film compared to Goblet of Fire. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's weird.
This film came out 2 years afterwards. Well, actually, a year and a half, because it was Goblet of Fire was late 2005. This was like summer 2007. So there was a slight delay with this one.
No, he looks like a lot older. I think that's because Daniel Radcliffe was older, and also the fact that you can obviously tell in this film he is a lot more. He looks a lot more like a man than he did in Goblet of Fire, and because at Goblet of Fire he was a teenager, here he's pretty much a young adult.
He's had a growth spurt. I mean, he looks a lot taller. I think also
ordered back for this film.
Yeah, it's nice to have Brendan Gleeson. But also, actually, there's quite a few new characters in this film, which is bizarre. Later on, we see Bellatrix, Helena Bonham Carter's character. And she's fucking nuts.
Where did Dursleys go again?
Well, they've gone to take Dudley to the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Because he's like shaken up by the Dementor incident. I mean, I've said this before. This is the one instance where I actually prefer the film to the book. Because the book was way too long. And I mean way too fucking long. It was so, like, the baggage was ridiculous. It took ages to get to Hogwarts. And, so the filmmakers did a great job at just telling the essential story without the padding. So I actually think the film actually tells it better in this instance.
I agree. I mean, I think, I've read the Order of the Phoenix book. I mean, I've read all the Harry Potter books, but Order of the Phoenix, I mean, it's the longest book out of the whole series, and I kind of agree with you. There's just a lot of filler in Order of the Phoenix. It's funny they went past Westminster there, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't enjoy the book, but I just thought it was too damn long. She could have cut half of it out.
I probably agree with you. I probably prefer the film to Order of the Phoenix because, the book, because I think, like you said, I think there is just too much filler in Order of the Phoenix, and I think J.K. Rowling admitted that some of the books were too long, and I think if she went back and looked at Order of the Phoenix, she'd probably admit it was too long. I mean, speaking of that, I always found it funny that Deathly Hallows was 2 parts, even though Order of the Phoenix was a longer book. But like you said, there's a lot more filler in Order of the Phoenix, so they just had to cut a lot of it out. I know it's interesting because like from Goblet of Fire onwards, they had to kind of make a lot of sort of cuts to some of the films because the books were just so long and they couldn't incorporate everything. And I'm kind of glad they did. I mean, maybe they could have incorporated some more scenes from the books, but I'm kind of glad that they cut down, this film because I mean, all you need is it basically tells you the essential story. You don't need like loads and loads of like
subplots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the filmmakers always said we will include the main story. We will include as much as we can. And anything that is relevant to Harry's story, they want to keep the focus on Harry because it's Harry's story. Anything else can go. At the end of the day, it's an adaptation, so it's not going to be a word-for-word translation. Otherwise, it'd be here for 6 hours. I mean, even then, fans would still complain. People that complain don't appreciate, how difficult it is to adapt a book to a film, no matter what.
Not only that, but like,
yeah,
no, it's weird. It's weird to see this creature. Like, you think Dobby would show up, but
Yeah. Actually, his name is Creature, funnily enough.
lol. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, he only appears briefly.
Yeah. No, but I mean, talking about, I mean, the difference between a book and a film is like a book you can pick it up and read at any time. Like a film, like you only have a certain amount of time to tell the whole story, like 2 hours or an hour and a half. And actually, saying that, Emma Watson has grown quite a lot as well. She looks about the same height as Daniel Radcliffe. Actually, she kind of looks taller than him. That's
Yeah,
weird.
Daniel Radcliffe's not particularly tall guy. Rupert Grint is kind of like they've all kind of got taller and slimmer as the films have gone on.
No, it's weird because I always remember like Hermione, Ron, and Harry in the first two being all the same height, and now Ron's kind of the tallest. And, like, in fact, Harry looks like he's the shortest out of the three. Like Emma Watson looks like she's slightly taller than him, but it's a bit
Yeah.
weird. But yeah, I mean, one thing I will say about the later films, like it's not really a huge criticism. It doesn't damage it for me, but I'm not a huge fan of them wearing the civilian clothes all the time. Like I
Yeah.
understand, I understand that they're not in school, and they can't be wearing their uniforms all the time. But I kind of like the way in the first two they wear their school uniforms most of the time. Like with the other films as they go on, like you see Harry more in a tracksuit and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, in the last two films, you can make the exception because it's Deathly Hallows. I mean, I know you haven't seen them, but the Deathly Hallows, they're not in Hogwarts for all of the story. I mean, they go back to Hogwarts for a final battle, but who cares about the uniform then? But I totally understand your point, though. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is a funny scene. I love the fact they actually have an ear on a string that can listen in. It's just hilarious.
One of those quirky ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, I just think that the school uniforms just look better. They just look smarter. Like the civilian clothes just doesn't look as, smart or as like cool in my opinion. But I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like I said, it doesn't destroy the film or anything. Well, it's nice to see as well his old Defense Against the Dark Art teacher's back as well.
Oh, Lupin, yeah.
Yeah, Lupin, yeah. How could she do that with her face, the duck thing?
Oh, because it's magic, isn't it?
I didn't know wizards could actually like change their face though with magic. Lol.
Yeah, there's a word for people like her, but I can't remember. Something J.K. Rowling's intricate details.
The boy who lies. What's that about?
They all think that Harry's making it up. The fact that Voldemort's back, they all think he's lying. He's doing it for attention.
Yeah. Harry's not a liar.
Exactly. I mean, they all know that, but they just Fudge and the Ministry, they're conspiring against Harry, because they think he's a liar and they think he's a glory hunter. Like they're like, oh, he just wants the attention.
I suppose like when somebody's dead, like you don't. It's hard to believe that they would come back to life. Like if somebody because I mean, Voldemort is basically the wizard equivalent of Hitler. So like if you said Hitler was dead and then you said, oh, actually he's still alive, a lot of people are gonna say, yeah, you're talking bullshit. Like yeah.
The thing is also Cedric died as well, so there's got to be some recompense for that. They must think, well, he was clearly murdered by somebody, and obviously Harry would never murder anybody.
Yeah, it's really great to see it's really great to see Gary Oldman back as Sirius Black. I mean, Sirius Black is one of my favorite Harry Potter characters. I mean, Gary Oldman is a great actor as well, so it's nice that they brought him back for this film.
Yeah, in a way, this is sort of his final performance. Although he does appear in a cameo scene in the last film. I won't spoil anything, but
yeah,
it's a nice scene.
One thing I do agree with, and And I agree with you. Like when you said it, I wish they would have Dobby more in the films. Like they only really have him in Chamber of Secrets, and I think it's Deathly Hallows, is it? Or
Yeah, in the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
yeah,
I like this scene. Mr. Weasley. Then in the underground.
is it me or like this film looks quite grey? Like to me, it looks even more grey than Prisoner of Azkaban. But yeah,
Yeah, in a way, I think so, yeah. Not to say it doesn't have like light relief. I think there are moments of sunshine,
yeah.
but it's just less than the last four movies.
I think I think the opening here is a little bit. It's taken a while to get going, if you know what I mean. Like, but yeah,
I mean, oh, well, yeah, the book takes even longer.
yeah, that's
To me, compared to the book, this is a tight cut. This is a tight
exactly.
cut. It may have less of a pace than some of the previous movies, but I still enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed the Order of the Phoenix, but out of the eight, it is my second to least favorite.
Yeah. I mean
I think
that
the
that
whole print takes longer to get going personally, but
yeah. I like this set here. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's funny because that scene where they go down in the telephone booth, it kind of reminds me of something out of a Bond film. Like I can imagine Q getting into that phone booth with Roger Moore or something like that, and then underneath there'd be like a Q lab. Like
yeah, that would be interesting. Be the way the Q branch is located.
yeah. Well, I mean they're
So,
MI6, they hide anywhere, so
I love the set for the Ministry of Magic, and I think it's brilliant. I mean, I love all the glazed porcelain. It was actually really great to see part of the set in the studio tour. Obviously, in this film, they extend some of it with CGI, but it looks very impressive. Actually, one of the best moments of the series. Actually, seeing the Ministry for the first time.
yeah.
Merlin's beard. That seems to be a bit of a common phrase in Harry Potter.
Merlin's beard. Cool.
Hmm.
It'd be funny if Merlin from the TV show Merlin met Dumbledore.
Yeah. That'd be weird.
Oh, Lucius. He's always up to shit.
He's a conniving bastard.
Is it this film where he said I've waited 14 years, or is it?
Yes.
I love that when you used it in your Incredibles review. I've waited 14 years, and it's
I
about bloody time.
a bloody time. Yeah, exactly. It was 14 years too long, in my opinion.
We
Ugh.
should do an Incredibles commentary in the future, or an Incredibles 2 or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should do both, definitely. Yeah, maybe one time we could do a double bill commentary. It'd be fucking long, but
Oh,
fun.
well, I don't know if I could watch two films in a row.
Well, obviously with a break in between,
Yeah.
as two separate hangouts, but just one after the other. But you know, I think we should definitely do Incredibles 1 and 2 at some point. Not like together, but like that would be fun. Have you got both of them on Blu-ray?
I think so. I think I bought Incredibles 2 on Blu-ray. But
Yeah.
if I don't, I could just buy it on Blu-ray anyway because I'm getting paid soon. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
definitely
think
going to buy Crimes of Grindelwald, and I still yet have to review Prisoner of Azkaban. I've just been busy with other things, but I will review it probably next week or something. Like,
look forward to the sketch as well.
yeah, no, actually talking about the sketch, like my Chambers secret sketch went on for like 12 minutes. I had to cut that down because I was like bloody hell, I can't make it 12 minutes. But I mean, I had so many ideas for that sketch. I just put them all into one. I didn't realize how long it was, and it was like, I can't make my review like 41 minutes long. That would be ridiculous. So I had to cut it down to like 6 minute sketch. I mean, I think 9 minutes is the maximum I'm gonna do for a sketch. Like that's the
Yeah.
longest sketch I did was Return of the Jedi. Like 9 minutes is enough, you know.
Yeah, I try not to go beyond 5 minutes, but sometimes if there's a big scene, then it might go on for longer. Like some of the Star Wars ones they did went on for a while, and the Harry Potter ones, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I look forward to your review of The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah. Cheers. And yeah, we'll have to like redo that commentary in the future. Unfortunately, that was fucking strike down. But yeah, ugh, pain in the arse. But yeah,
I think the thing is with Order of the Phoenix, it's there's a lot more exposition than there is action. I think the Goblet of
yeah,
Fire is more of an epic. This one, obviously, it all builds up to a big final battle at the end, but there's a lot of story that
yeah.
goes on, and it is quite hard to actually tell this story.
I have to agree so far. I mean, so far it's quite talky. There isn't that much action. I mean, I know it's. I mean, the film's hasn't been on that long. It's only been on 23 minutes, but I mean, I can kind of understand why some fans say this is the weakest of the series because it is quite of a talky Harry Potter film, not huge on the
Yeah.
action or spectacle, but
I mean, I was tempted to rank this below Half-Blood Prince, but then the Half-Blood Prince is longer and has quite a lot of talkiness itself. So, yeah, for me, those two are kind of on equal footing as well. But there are no bad Harry Potter films. None of them are bad. I don't think any of them are bad.
yeah,
Even the least enjoyable ones are still enjoyable.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I never seen a Harry Potter film that I thought was god awful. Like they've all been to a high quality. You know, they all range. I think all the Harry Potter films range from good to excellent.
yeah. I think you'll be impressed with the last film. I think Deathly Hallows Part Two will impress you. Well, I hope it does anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to my friend the other day, and his favorite Harry Potter film was Prisoner of Azkaban, but he agreed with me like that the first two are underrated. I mean, the first two are probably my favorite, but I really enjoy Goblet of Fire as well, and hopefully I'll enjoy the last three as well. Maybe not as much Half Blood Prince, but I still think I'll probably say it's a good film anyway.
Yeah, I think after this, the film, it starts to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll notice it. Yeah. Also, I think this is one of Michael Gambon's best performances as Dumbledore. I think he's really settled in now to the part. This is his third time in the part, and I think he's doing well.
By the way, bit of an odd question. When did we find out? Dumbledore's gay. Well,
Well, I mean, it's never like explicitly stated in the movies, but J.K. Rowling announced it in 2009 when they were doing the script for the Half-Blood Prince. One of the writers, he wrote a line about Dumbledore admiring a woman, and then she looked at the script and she wrote a note in it, and then she put, "Steve, Dumbledore's gay." He was like, "Oh," right. So she kind of like dropped it in there subtly, and then when it was announced, everybody was like, "What the hell?" But she was like, "Oh, I always knew he was gay." I mean, there's an interview with her when she justifies her choice, but I don't think it's anything. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just in the movies, they never say it in black and white. But
yeah.
I think you can kind of tell that Dumbledore is a little bit. Well, let's say he bats for the other team.
Well, I never would have guessed that with Richard Harris, but yeah. well, I suppose it makes sense because he's never been married. No, I mean, we're talking about J.K. Rowling, though. I mean, I do have a lot of respect for her as a writer, but I do know some fans of Harry Potter are kind of pissed off with her because, like, I think she's tried to say that Harry in the books is black, or like she's tried to say that Hermione is black, whatever. Some other stuff as well. Like, I think, to be honest, I'm sorry to J.K. Rowling, but I don't think Harry Potter is black in my opinion. I mean, he's quite clearly a white guy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really freaky. Seeing the that vision of Voldemort wearing in the suit.
He shops at Hugo Boss.
Yeah. Imagine, yeah, that's it. He's doing a Ralph Lauren advert. Oh god.
Could you imagine that? Tailored suits for he who must not be named.
You see Daniel Craig going, "It's tailored."
God. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me
Yeah.
if Hugo Boss originally did the uniforms for the Nazis back in World War Two.
Yeah, I think you're right. The cinematography is a lot darker, and that shot what we saw of the hills and Hogwarts, it was very like navy blue and black. It was all very dark, and this is quite a moody film. Order of the Phoenix. It's not the cheeriest of Potter films.
It,
Oh.
why Harry gets so pissed off at Malfoy?
Malfoy said, "Oh, I'm surprised the Ministry let you go free. I bet there's a cell in Azkaban with your name on it." And then Harry just snapped. He was like, "Just stay away from me."
He seems quite angry in this film. Well,
yeah, he's sort of going through a lot of adolescence, and
yeah.
everybody's against him essentially,
It's
other than Ron and Hermione.
it's weird that they're wearing their normal outfit when they arrive at Hogwarts, because in the other Harry Potter films, like Chamber of Secrets and Philosopher's Stone, like they're wearing, their school uniforms when they arrive at Hogwarts, but
Yeah,
they must have been they must be more relaxed now that they're older or something. I don't know. Maybe Hogwarts changed their policy.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, very soon we get into the Great Hall, and they are wearing uniforms. They do actually wear uniforms a little bit more in this film, actually, I think, than the fourth movie. But yeah, I just need to go to loop out, but keep it playing and keep talking. It's fine. I'll let mine play as well.
Abra shit dabra. Oh. No, I mean, Order of the Phoenix. It's interesting because, like I said, when I saw Goblet of Fire at the cinema, but I didn't see Order of the Phoenix at the cinema at the time because I was like when I saw Goblet of Fire, I was kind of disappointed, and then I watched, and then I didn't really. My dad didn't bother like bringing me to the cinema to see the other Harry Potter films. But, I mean, I kind of regret it because I would have liked to see Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 in the cinema, but I just never got around to it. Um, I mean, this scene's quite nice here. The scene at Hogwarts with it looks like the hall's changed a little bit. I mean, that's the thing with Order of the Phoenix. Like some of the design and look of it, like cinematography and some of the other, like a lot of it seems to have changed from Goblet of Fire and some of the other films. But um, I mean, this character's quite interesting. The one in the pink dress. Her name slips me at the moment because I haven't seen this film in a while. It's been a long time since I've read the book, so I apologize for not being more on the ball when it comes to this. But I mean, the actress who plays her does a really good job. I find her quite funny. She's kind of, very sweet, but at the same time, she's quite sinister as well, as we find out later in the film. A wolf in sheep's clothing, but yeah. Um, um, yeah. Sorry for not talking that much. I don't have much to say during the scene. I'm sorry if my commentary isn't as engaging as it usually is. I'm kind of tired at the moment. And I haven't seen this film in a while, and I don't really have much to say during this particular scene. But I mean, reading the Harry Potter books, I mean, or the Phoenix, like I remember, like at the time when I saw how long it was, I was kind of daunted by it, and I remember sort of, I remember putting off what reading Order of the Phoenix because I was kind of put off by how long the book was. But you know, reading it, it you know, it was too long. But I mean, this scene is interesting where they all think like Harry is guilty. Like, I mean, Harry. You know, I mean, he's done so much good for the school in the past. I don't really get why people would think that he's, you know, a criminal. Hmm. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I mean, Harry, you know, he saved the school so many times. Why do people think that he's up to it? I don't understand it. I mean, Harry is quite pissed off in this film. It's funny because Ron was the one who was like, pissed off with Harry in the previous film. In this film, Harry's pissed off with everybody else. Um, I mean, to be honest, I think out of all the Harry Potter books, Order of the Phoenix is probably my least favorite, just because of how long it is.
Snooze.
It is a bit boring so far. Joking. This is interesting. This scene. I was just saying, like, I didn't understand, like, why, you know, all the students think Harry did something. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he saved the school so many times. Like, why would they think he'd, like, you know, like, why would they think he would be like a criminal or he'd be up to stuff? Like, it just doesn't make much sense.
I
Yeah.
think it's stupid the fact that Voldemort is back. They think that Harry's just. I don't know. It is a little bit unbelievable, but there you go. I fucking love this character, Umbridge. She's so she's so annoying. Like she's this prissy pink, but this.
Oh
like,
yeah, I was
woman.
I was gonna say I've forgotten her name, but I remember watching Order of the Phoenix the first time, and I just found her so funny as a character because she's just such an annoying, like you said, she's just such a like sweet little like you know, oh hello students, how are you boys and girls? Like you know, she's just kind of this sickly sweet, you know, old
Yeah,
woman, you know.
and she does that thing with her laugh. She goes,
I mean, it's kind of funny to see that she's sort of, you know, not as good as she seems later on in the film, but yeah.
yeah. It's weird because obviously Voldemort is the main antagonist of the whole series, but yet she's one of the most evil characters in the saga for me, especially with what happens later to Harry.
Yeah. It's funny the way she gets killed off at the end. It always made me laugh.
Well,
Like,
actually, no, she doesn't die. She comes back in the Deathly Hallows.
oh, I thought she died at the end of the fifth one. Oh.
No, well, she gets taken away, but she doesn't die.
Yeah, no, I remember her getting taken away, but I just assumed that she died. I haven't seen this film in a long time, but
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I haven't read the book in a long time either. But no, she is just kind of like she kind of reminds me of like an old like she kind of reminds me like of an old granny or something, like you know, and like you
Yeah,
know, she's trying to like you know, she's acting as though the students are like her children or something, or grandchildren. Like,
yeah.
It was a tragic accident.
I guess the Ministry have been feeding everybody a load of BS.
Yeah. I have to
They
say, Harry
don't
is.
want to cause hysteria in the wizarding world.
Yeah. I have to say, Harry is really like pissed off in this film. Like that scene earlier, like where he says to Ron, "I'm fine, Ron." Like it's kind of funny because Ron was sort of pissed off with Harry in the previous film, and in this film, like you see Harry gets a bit pissed off at Ron, but instead,
Well, I mean, he knows it's not Ron's fault. It's just everybody's kind of going on at Harry, and Harry's just, he's an adolescent boy, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's growing up.
He just wants to be left alone. To sit there with his, I mean, let's be honest. He probably just wants to sit in his bed and play around with his wand.
Which wand are you talking about?
you know what I mean.
But swish and flick.
That's what she said.
This scene is really fucking sadistic. Way with what happens to Harry. I won't spoil it because it's a very tense moment. But yeah, and I like the fact that when we come into her office, everything's pink, even the sugar. Pink.
It's funny that she has cat plates all around her, and it's all pink and stuff, like you said. It's just quite funny. It's sort of funny to see such a happy, annoying, sort of irritating character in such a dark film. Like it's kind of in contrast.
And that is the contrast because her character is dark. She's an evil, evil bitch, and yet she has this exterior where she's kind of all prissy and pink and like, but behind that there's somebody really nasty.
That is a really horrible scene. Like, can I ask something? Is that painful for Harry?
Well, I would imagine so. Yeah, I mean, I can't feel the pain myself, but I'm sure if I did.
I thought like it would be painless, but like he would just see it on his hand. She is a sadistic bitch. Like she has this exterior of being this kind, like old woman, but in reality, like underneath it all, she's like this horrible, old nag.
Deserve to be punished. I don't think so.
That sounds a bit masochistic. Like you deserve to be punished. Like, wow, she is definitely not a nice person.
Yeah.
I mean, considering all the shit Harry's had to go through in his life, you think like Harry is the last one who deserves to be punished?
Yeah. Well,
God. That kid with the fucking fat.
It's really weird how I think from this point on they really start to look like adults. Like, Emma Watson and Rupert Grint especially.
Yeah, I have to say Emma Watson is looking. She's looking pretty hot in this film. I can't deny.
She's gorgeous, Yeah. I think she's too good looking to play Hermione. I think in the book Hermione was always imagined to look slightly less hot, but I mean, obviously J.K. Rowling was like, yeah, well, you can never really find anybody who looks exactly like, but because in the first one they made Hermione's hair very bushy, and then they changed it in the second one so she looked a lot prettier. It's again, book and film, very different mediums.
You know what? This might sound a bit weird, but I think maybe, I mean, Emma Watson is perfect as Hermione, but like you said, Hermione in the books like wasn't as attractive. She was a bit more geeky, a little bit more, I guess you could say, less attractive, like you said. And I mean, to be honest, maybe they should have made. I mean, even though Emma Watson is perfect as Hermione, maybe they should have made Emma Watson Ginny, because in the books, Ginny is described as like the most beautiful girl of her year, and I could definitely see Emma Watson playing Ginny. Although saying that, I mean, she's great as Hermione,
Yeah, she gets the character down to a hilt.
Yeah, I mean, Hermione is
all grow up in the series, and that's almost was the best thing about the film series. Seeing all three of them grow up in the 8 films.
It's interesting because it must be weird for Daniel Radcliffe. Like, I mean, I don't think he probably rewatches the Harry Potter films because he's in them, but I mean, it must be weird, like if he does go back to the Harry Potter films because he's basically watching himself
Himself.
himself grow up on film. You know, like
Yeah. Must be slightly disconcerting. I mean, obviously he's watched the movies when they've come out at the premieres. But yeah, I don't think he's ever rewatched them. I mean, he may own them, maybe just as for like a keepsake. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I don't think many actors rewatch their own work because I mean, it's like I mean, I suppose it would be a bit weird. Like, I mean, like it'd be like that film Sunset Boulevard, like where that actress is, you know, she's so obsessed with herself and her own self image, and she loves herself. And she's just like, you know, it's a bit weird, but yeah.
I also love this character, Luna. I mean, she's great because she represents, you know, fundamentally, you know, someone who has a rare quality of not giving a shit what anybody thinks. So I like the fact that she relates to Harry. You know, people think she's all loony Lovegood, you know, that she's all mad because
Yeah.
whatnot. But actually, what she says makes a lot of sense, and she actually identifies with Harry, and you know, and she doesn't care what anyone thinks of her. She's just herself, and I love that about her, and I think the actress does a great job. And I think the actress is actually from Ireland, funnily enough, Jack.
Oh, she's Irish. Oh, I turned you in a turd. um. Well, no, yeah, I think she is Irish, obviously, because she's talking in an Irish accent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, would you say is that Belfast? Her
No,
accent? Or...
no, that's not Belfast. That's the south of Ireland. In Northern
That's...
Ireland, it's a lot more. It's a lot more harsh. I mean, Northern Ireland's weird because it's like a mixture of Scottish and like the accent from the south. So it's kind of like a tougher accent. Like in the south, it's a lot more like, you know, oh, hello there, I'm Irish. You know, like that kind of thing. Like the way she talks, but yeah. I don't know whereabouts from Ireland she's from though. Like, I mean, the Belfast accent's more like, all right, son, you know,
Yeah,
what that?
well, yeah, essentially like your accent.
Yeah, but I mean, mine's is kind of more like, well, it's not as harsh as some people's accent in Northern Ireland. Like, you know, in Belfast, you get some guys like, you know, working class guys are like, all right, son, you know, what's that crack? Like, it's interesting that I remember this scene actually where Professor McGonagall's like, you know, having a go at Umbridge.
Yeah, and I like the thing where they're trying to like where they're on the steps and like they're trying to like one up each other in that sense of level.
Did Harry tell McGonagall about what she did?
No, I don't think he told anybody straight away. I mean, in the book, I think it was mentioned that he did tell someone later on, but yeah, he didn't want to give Umbridge the satisfaction.
Is is Umbridge higher up in the school than McGonagall?
Well, she does become that. She weaves her way in. I mean, she's there basically as a spy for the Ministry, and then she drives Dumbledore out
Why did McGonagall have a go with her?
because she doesn't like the way she works.
Fair enough.
Because she says, "Oh, you know, we can't use magic," and you know, she's forbidding them to use magic because she thinks that Dumbledore is recruiting an army to take on Voldemort. I'm sure they know Voldemort's back. They just don't want to believe it.
She's quite nasty. I mean, that couple kissing, she just separated them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they continued kissing each other after that anyway. But it's like she's a bit of a she's a bit of a bossy boots. Like,
I like that. Snape. Alan Rickman actually gets nothing to do in this film. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean,
She's just a
when I
kid.
watched this one, I just
Yeah.
noticed how, like, the quality of this film, it just isn't up there like the first four. I mean, I still enjoy it. I think there's a lack of confidence with David Yates' direction as well. I still
Yeah.
think he's a very new director.
I mean, is it me? But Umbridge is a bit of a killjoy.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. I like the music here. Dun, 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 dun. The score is pretty good by Nicholas Hooper. It's not. I mean, it's not John Williams level, but it's it works for this movie. The music is nice.
I kind of wish he did return to Harry Potter after he finished with Star Wars, but I assume he just wanted to do other projects and he just felt like, he wanted to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I will say, talking about Star Wars Episode 9, it is going to be a real shame when John Williams leaves that series because that's going to be his final score for a Star Wars film. And I mean, even though Michael Giacchino is, even though Michael Giacchino did a really good score for Rogue One, it's just going to be weird to watch a Star Wars film without John Williams composing it.
Yeah. Well, the person that did the score for Solo was John Powell. I mean, he did a pretty good job, but whoever comes now will never be as good as Williams, but will at least do a good job. You know, like Michael Giacchino is the first person I would call to replace Williams, but
Yeah, same.
yeah. And it's actually good because it's the end of the Skywalker saga anyway, so it fits, and it could quite possibly be his last score ever as well. I mean, he's getting old now, so yeah.
This is a really nasty scene. I remember the scene from like rewatching this film. It's just a really horrible thing to do. Like, you absolute bitch. Like,
Yeah, she's like trying to sack Professor Trelawney.
but
Yeah,
not only that, but she's humiliating her in front of the whole school. She's basically, handing her leaving papers in front of the whole school. Like she's publicly humiliating her.
mm.
Thank God Dumbledore intervened. This is I think I agree with you. This is probably Michael Gambon's best performance. He really takes charge in this film.
Mm. It is a shame about Richard Harris because I always imagine how Richard Harris would do in these scenes as Dumbledore, but I'm sure they'd be very different.
I think he'd do great because I mean Richard Harris is a very good actor and he could I mean not just Harry Potter. I mean he's been in so many films. He was in Gladiator. He was in Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
This Sporting Life. He's a great actor. He was also the original Gulliver. So I mean, he's a great actor. Funnily enough, they're both Irish actors. Him and Michael Gambon. I think Richard Harris might have won an Oscar. I'm not sure.
Mm.
I have to say, I mean, I don't want to keep going on about it, but Emma Watson is really fucking hot in this film.
Oh yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. Bless her. She's such a nice girl as well in real life. She's such a lovely person. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about last time. The fire effect. Look at it. It's just. Yeah.
It's not. It's nowhere near as good as it is in Goblet of Fire.
Fire. Yeah.
Is it me? But it seems really lazy.
Yeah, like it's like they just put Gary Oldman's face in front of a green screen. They just put the effect behind it, and that was it. Like the effect before looked great because it looked like it was his face formed out of the coal, and that was only 2 years ago. Why change it so much?
It seems really lazy to me. I think I agree with you. The direction here by David Yates does not feel as confident as the first four. Like, like I mean, it's not a bad film by any means, but it does kind of feel a little bit lackluster, if you know what I mean.
After Goblet of Fire, it does a bit. I mean, it's still enjoyable. I still really like it, but it's not the best for me. It was also that effect. It's really hard to see the face. It's really hard to focus on the face. So
It
why not just have it in the cold? You know.
it just to me it comes across as really lazy because, like you said, like the effect in Goblet of Fire was fantastic. Like his face was literally looked like it was formed out of the coal and the fire. Here it's just flame with Guy Oldman's face in the flame. Like it's like, is that it? You know. Uh,
Mm.
and you're right. That I mean, this film came out after that. You know, why couldn't they've done the same?
Actually, I mean, I have a lot of respect for David Yates because he did tackle the biggest book in the series,
Mm.
and his direction would only get better as he progressed through
Yeah.
his films. But this one is noticeable how he's kind of. It's almost like there's a hesitancy in the direction.
Yeah,
But I
to
mean,
me,
it's
like,
good.
yeah, I mean, to me, it's good, but I kind of like so far there hasn't been much that's happened, if you know what I mean. Like, I know, like, we still have quite a while of the film left, but so far there just hasn't been that much going on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. One thing I will say about Emma Watson, I mean, she's a feminist, but she's like a sensible feminist. She's not like one of these like over the top extreme feminists, you know.
Yeah, she's got her head screwed on correctly.
Yeah.
You know who's put your toss pot.
Kind of a shame that her career really hasn't taken off as well. I mean, I know she appeared in a film recently and it did really, really badly at the box office. Like nobody went to see it. But yeah.
I think then before that it was the Beauty and the Beast remake that she was in.
Oh well, actually saying that, she kind of bounced back with that.
Yeah, I thought she was good in that. Everybody criticised her singing voice, but I quite liked it actually. I thought she was quite good.
Yeah. I think, you know, when it comes to people singing, it's kind of a subjective thing.
Mm.
I mean, that's one thing I will say is, I mean, even though she's great as Hermione, I kind of wish they'd swap, you know, Ginny and Hermione. Like, you know, I kind of wish they'd swap actresses because it said in the book that Ginny was like the most gorgeous girl of her year, and I think Emma Watson would definitely have maybe fit that description in the book better. But at the same time, she's great as
Well,
Hermione, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see your point. There's only one problem though. She's not ginger.
Well, that's well. I mean, they could have dyed her hair, but yeah.
I think Daniel Radcliffe is really good in this film. He has to do a lot of emotional scenes and very sort of hard-hitting acting. You know,
Yeah.
like this speech here that he makes is, oh, out there it's not like school. You've got to, if you have to think on your feet. I mean, he watched Cedric get murdered, so he's dealing with a lot in this film. I mean, so many characters die in this series; it's unbelievable. But I like the fact that this film kind of is about them standing up and fighting back, essentially against Voldemort.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about it because they're still kind of kids and they want to take on Voldemort. It's like, you know, I mean, I know Harry survived Voldemort, but at the same time, they are literally still kids. And, you know, it'd be hard. It'd be hard to take on Voldemort. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Ginny. It's weird in the movies. Ginny gets nothing to do until the next film, The Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, that is a shame about the first five Harry Potter films. She gets literally fuck all to do. Apart, actually, saying that she did get a lot to do. Well, she did get she did get enough to do in Chamber of Secrets. You know.
Yeah, well,
Well, just yeah.
yeah.
But I mean,
But
at
I mean,
least she
in
was
the
part of
movie
it.
she's sort of underdeveloped, but
Yeah.
yeah. It's a shame.
I suppose because they've got so many characters and they can't develop them all. So
Yeah. It's
although
just annoying because she's the future wife of Harry. So
no, I agree with you. I mean, I do think they should have developed her more. Like, I mean, they could have maybe taken some time away from the other characters. Like, is it just me? But it's weird to see Crabbe and Goyle in tracksuits. They just look like thugs that you'd see in the street. Hoodies, like
we going Longbottom.
They look like the Mitchell brothers.
I think this is potentially the last film you see Crabbe, unless you see him in the next one. I don't think you do, because the actor got fired because he was growing marijuana on set, I believe. Or well, he was discovered anyway doing it. And yeah, because in the book, in the Deathly Hallows, well, actually, no, I won't say that. That's a spoiler. I'll mention that when we get to Deathly Hallows. But yeah, I don't think we see Crabbe anymore after this one. But in the books, he makes it to the end. But yeah.
No, it's kind of a shame he got fired, but I mean, I don't know why he would grow drugs on the set of Harry Potter. He sounds fucking stupid doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a shame they don't get much to do after the second one. I think the second one they get the most to do because Harry and all has to impersonate them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they're ever meant to be major characters, just like the school bullies, really. That was it.
No, but I mean, it's interesting to see Neville, like, even though he is still a little bit of an idiot, he's not as much of the butt of the joke in this film as he is in the other films.
He just struggles, he struggles a lot with learning. But he's
And the actress, and the actors lost a lot of weight.
yeah, he's slimmed out a bit. Yeah. He's such a good character, though.
It's funny because if you see him now, he's really buffed up. Like I think he became a model in the end. I don't know. Well,
Nigel. There are some charming moments in this film. It's not all doom and gloom.
Actually, talking about Neville Longbottom, the way his hair's done in this film, he looks a little bit like Tom Riddle. The way his hair's done.
I suppose so. In his sandwich. David Bradley's Filch has a lot of physical comedy in this film, which is nice.
Yeah. I love Filch as a character. He kind of, this might sound a bit weird, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Groundskeeper Willie.
Wrong. I suppose so.
Well, I mean, Groundskeeper Willie's kind of a curmudgeonly, janitor, and it's kind of the same thing with Filch. He's a bit of a curmudgeonly janitor. I mean, I have to say, David Bradley, I'm so glad that they cast him as William Hartnell in An Adventure in Space and Time. And even though Twice Upon a Time as a special was shit, he was great as a First Doctor. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better actor to stand in for William Hartnell than David Bradley.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great. I remember seeing him in Twice Upon a Time with Peter Capaldi. I mean, of course, he'll never replace William Hartnell, but I was almost convinced that he was the First Doctor.
Yeah, it is. It's such a close impersonation, you would barely tell.
Yeah.
It's weird how, also Cho, the character of Cho in this film, is sort of underdeveloped as well. In the book, we focus more on their romance. They get together and then they break up and etc. And then she ends up selling him out to Umbridge unintentionally. And that's there's more impact of that in the book.
I love the finds the chocolates. I love you.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Oh. Did you see the effect they did there? It's like one of the spots exploded and you see a little bit of pus on the camera lens. It's ugh. It's kind of interesting how they're learning spells so that they can fight Voldemort. This is kind of weird. Like Harry's like teaching them to fight. Like, could you imagine if they did like a Harry Potter version of Fight Club? Like, you imagine if Harry said like you cannot talk about Wizard Club, you know?
I like that Harry becomes a teacher though, because I mean he's been through a lot, yeah, in the past 4 years.
Uh-oh, they're gonna get rumbled.
Or not. Whoa. That was powerful.
I don't know. The actress who plays Ginny, for me, she's just not as attractive as she's portrayed in the books. But I mean, the actress still gives a good performance. Like, you know.
Yeah. It's funny how Hogwarts actually have a secret room where they can practice. It's like it was there all along for them.
Who do you call the two Indian like twins? Because I remember seeing them in the last film, Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah, I mean they've well in the books. I mean they've been in since the first year, but we didn't see them until Goblet of Fire.
So
Maybe the Prince of Azkaban, but yeah.
Do they have names or?
Yeah, Pavasi and Padma Patel, I believe their names are. They are twins.
Yeah. Well, no shit.
I mean, they're already like featured characters anyway, just as students.
One thing I will say, like you're saying about, lol, it's kind of interesting to see. Harry is a bit of a wimp, though. The fact he never kind of asks her out for a date, or
well, he tried to ask her to the ball in the last film, but she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going with someone else."
Yeah. but if I was Harry, I'd be like, you know, well, can we meet up some other time?
Well, at the time, I think she was in a relationship with Cedric.
If I was Harry, I'd just turn him into a rat. Well,
it's funny how they there's a featurette of them filming the kiss scene. It's funny. I mean, because they cast her knowing she would be a love interest, where it was weirder in the next film because Ginny and Harry kiss in the next film, and it's like, oh, you know, because he's known her since she was 10. Yeah.
It's weird that he fucking falls for Ron's sister, especially since she's younger than him. Like, you think Ron would be like, "What the fuck, Harry?" You know.
Well, I think he is at first, but you know, Ron is Hermione, so what can you do?
That's true. It's weird that
this is a very, very nicely done scene. It's very, very well directed, and the music is very sweet, and the kiss is nice. But the fact that they don't develop the relationship makes this scene completely redundant.
Yeah, it's weird because ooh,
smoochy.
You gotta take their clothes off.
This must have been weird for like all the fangirls, because they'd have watched Daniel Radcliffe since he was 11. You know,
I bet all the fangirls would be like jealous. They'd be like, "No."
How was it?
Wet. Is he talking about her pussy or is he talking about her lips?
No, he's talking about the kiss.
I know.
I mean, they're technically underage anyway.
I was joking, but wait. Wait. How old is Harry in this film?
15.
Oh, I was gonna say like if he was 16, then he could fuck her.
Yeah, but she would have been 15.
Do you think Hermione's a bit jealous?
No, I don't think so. No, I think Hermione just, you know, the emotional range of a teaspoon. Hermione likes to look at it from all angles, though.
It's interesting that Ron and Hermione got together because I mean they've just been platonic friends for years, and then they end up marrying each other. That's weird.
Yeah. It took
Well,
a while.
I suppose Ron knows her better than anybody else apart from Harry. Well, I suppose Ron knows her so well that it's kind of bound to happen that they were get together at one point.
Yeah, even if it took them 7 years.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, talking about the Harry Potter films. You're saying about Hermione being more attractive than she is in the books. I think the reason why is because with films they tend to look for more photogenic, like good-looking people to put on the screen. So it's probably one of the reasons why. It's interesting that he has this like nightmare.
Which actually turns out to be real. It's more of a vision, I guess.
Yeah. I wish Richard Harris was still alive. Because it would have been great to see. It would be great to see his character change all over all the films that he's in. Oh shit!
Dramatic.
You don't say that to your bloody headmaster.
Look at me. I'd give Daniel Radcliffe a full thumbs up in this film. Terrific. Snape.
This is probably one of his very best performances. He's very intense in this film.
Yeah. So I'd have to be in the mood to watch Order of the Phoenix because it is very dark. It's quite. Would you agree that it's quite depressing?
Yeah, there isn't that much humor in it, which is a shame.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit of light relief, but it isn't much.
That's one thing I will say
really
about.
amped up the darkness since the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's one thing I'd say why I kind of prefer the first two Harry Potter films is there's a lot more charm and humor to them. And I think for me, why Chamber of Secrets is my favorite is because it has the right balance between dark with Tom Riddle and also the light stuff. I think as the Harry Potter series gets on, they do get a little bit more depressing and a bit more dark, but not in a bad way. Like not in a in a really bad way or anything. I mean, it doesn't damage the films, but it would be nice if maybe Order of the Phoenix had more humor and light relief to it. But
Yeah. Oof. This is one of the interesting aspects of this film. There's a few more flashbacks than the previous, well, to the previous films.
I have to say, like, this is dragging a bit, to be honest. Not massively, but it is sort of dragging, a little bit. Like, would you agree? Or
I mean, maybe a little bit, but the book is worse. Believe me, the book drags on even more.
yeah,
I found it really hard to stay interested in the book.
yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it isn't the best paced of the movies. I will agree with that. But I think compared to the Half-Blood Prince, this is paced a lot better. But I'll let you make your own mind up about that when we get to it.
No, don't get me wrong. It's not like tediously slow, and it's not a bad film. Like I like all the Harry Potter films, the ones that I've seen anyway. But yeah, I do think I kind of agree with you. I just think the direction by David Yates just isn't as confident. Like you can kind of tell that he's sort of getting used to the whole Harry Potter world, and he hasn't quite found his feet yet as a director.
Yeah, I don't think he'd done very much before this film.
Yeah. I have to say, Gary Oldman as Sirius Black looks really cool in his outfit.
Nice to see him looking less grubby than he did in The Prisoner of Azkaban.
He kind of reminds me, like the way his hairstyle's done and stuff. He kind of reminds me of the young version of Dracula that he played in the Francis Ford Coppola film.
Oh,
Actually, I would recommend that film in in the future if you ever get the chance to see it. The Francis Ford Coppola Dracula. It's a really good film.
cool. I'll bear that in mind. Thank you.
Creature. Isn't me, but the CGI for Creature just it doesn't look as good as the CGI for Dolby.
Yeah, it's not bad though. I mean, for 2007, it's pretty good. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. I like this scene between Harry and Sirius Black. It's probably one of my favorite moments in the film.
I agree, and we get to learn a bit more about his family, as in Sirius Black's family, which is cool.
Yeah. Why so serious?
Funny, when they were making the film, they asked J.K. Rowling for a family tree to stick on the wall. They said, "Oh, it doesn't have to be very much, just at least a little bit." And then she came back the next day with like pages and pages of people and, and like literally whole histories. It's incredible how she just conjures up all these ideas. It's unprecedented.
Yeah, I know some fans are kind of annoyed that she sort of changed a few things from the books and rewritten a few things, but I think for the most part she's a very good writer, and
Yeah,
I think the Harry Potter
no
book.
writer's flawless, but yeah, she's very good. I think.
Well, I don't think any writer is flawless.
Yeah,
Maybe apart from Shakespeare, I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, it's funny. We've only got an hour of this film left, actually, so it's not too long, thankfully.
Hmm.
I mean, 2 hours 18 minutes. I mean, it's pretty short by Potter standards. I mean, although it still is long. I mean, there's no question about that. It is still long.
Yeah.
This one is more, I guess, more of an emotional drama as well. There's a lot more emotional stakes for Harry. He's struggling to deal with a lot, and there's also the connection with Voldemort that's kind of overtaking him.
Yeah. You know, I actually might have to say out of the first 5 films, this is probably my least favorite.
Yeah,
Rewatching this, I mean, I'm actually surprised I'm saying that because I remember at the time watching Order of the Phoenix. I think at the time I really enjoyed it and I put it above Goblet of Fire, but rewatching it now, I'd have to say it's probably my least favorite of the series so far. But that might change with Half-Blood Prince. I don't know, but yeah.
yeah. It's hard to rank the Harry Potter films because they're all good. I mean, there are no bad ones, but there are some that are stronger than others. I mean, this one is definitely one of the weaker ones, but
Yeah,
there's still
I just think the problem is there's a. Sorry to interrupt. I just think the problem is there's a little bit too much talking and a little bit too much exposition, but like I'm not a huge amount that's happened so far. Like I mean, there has been stuff that's happened, but it is dragging a little bit for me. But like I said, it's not terrible. I mean, none of the Harry Potter films are god awful or bad. All of them are range from good to excellent. Like I said.
yeah. I mean, I think you'll like the second part of this film. I mean, from now till the end, a lot more does start to happen, and it does get a bit quicker. But
Yeah.
I would agree with you that out of the first 5 is the weakest. You could just tell, really. I mean, yeah, but yeah, you may prefer the Half-Blood Prince to this. I mean, you may or may not, but
Mm.
I still think this is a fantastically enjoyable film. It's very enjoyable. It's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best of David Yates was yet to come.
Yeah, it's weird because from the Prisoner of Azkaban onwards, Hagrid's hut is like it's outside the grounds. Like in the first two, it was inside the grounds. Like in Prisoner of Azkaban onwards, his hut's outside the grounds.
Mm.
It is kind of a shame as well that Hagrid doesn't get as much to do in the later films as he does in the first two, but you know, at least he's still there, you know. Well, I wonder if they still all talk to each other, like Robbie Coltrane and Daniel Radcliffe and stuff.
Mm. I'd imagine they would. Ugh.
Isn't me, but like it's a bit weird because like Hagrid's hair in this film looks a bit darker than it did in the previous two. Like in Goblet of Fire, well, actually, Prisoner of Azkaban, his hair looked a little slightly more grey, but in this it looks a bit darker again.
Yeah, I guess so. He sort of had brown hair in the earlier ones, and now he's got black.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Robbie Coltrane wore a wig and a beard.
Yeah.
Best be ready when she does.
This is a bit of a disturbing scene. Helm the Bottom Carter. Oh.
There's Bellatrix.
It's interesting because this scene kind of reminds me a bit of a Tim Burton film.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, I know she's in all of his, well, a majority of his films, but, you know, Tim Burton does go for that sort of dark gothic feel. And the fact you got Helm the Bottom Carter, yeah.
Yeah.
We strongly suspect that the breakout was engineered by a man with personal experience in escaping from Azkaban.
You know the minister, is he always, is always the same minister in all the films?
No, in the Deathly Hallows, there's a new minister. His name is Rufus Scrimger, but he's played by Bill Nighy, actually.
Hmm. Mass breakout from Azkaban. I mean, isn't me, but Azkaban must be a really shit prison because Sirius Black managed to escape, and then there's another mass breakout. It must be a shit prison.
Yeah, well, it looked like the side of the wall was completely destroyed. So, I mean, God knows how Sirius Black got out of there.
That's a nice scene where he apologizes to Harry.
Yeah, because he was a dick.
Yeah, he was an arsehole. I mean, I can't say this because I am Irish. He was an Irish cunt. Well,
Yeah, the Goblet of Fire was a lot more epic for me than Order of the Phoenix, but
yeah, this is a bit. It is a bit disappointing to be honest, but like I said, it's not terrible. It's still good. You know, it's a good film. Yeah, I kind of like the fact that Neville throughout the films he becomes a bit more. I guess you could say throughout the films Neville becomes smarter. Like he kind of, you know, he matures and he's not. I mean, I kind of like the fact that as the films go on, he's like no longer the butt of the joke all the time. He actually
he becomes a bit more credible.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't think Neville is stupid. I just think he's just sometimes he could be a bit,
Unobservant.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, you know, he's a bit clumsy.
How does Harry know all these like spells?
Well, he was taught Expecto Patronum in his third year by Lupin.
Yeah, but how does he find out about the other spells?
I'm not really sure. I guess look in books, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe he bought a book of magic spells.
The Book of Mormon. There's a rumble in this jungle.
Troll in the dungeon! Oh, sorry, wrong film.
Drown in the dungeon.
What do you want to know?
I'll make short work of this.
Troll in the YouTube comments. Troll in the YouTube comments. How did she find out about this place?
Cho.
Show.
That's how. In the book, it explains that they used truth serum on Cho. They used like a potion which made her tell the truth. So she basically told them the location.
Umbridge is such a cunt. Sorry to say, but yeah.
That's Percy.
Joe, how could you?
Professor, he had nothing to do with it. It was me.
That's noble of you, Harry. As has been pointed out, it clearly says Dumbledore's name, not Potter. I instructed Harry to perform this.
You know, I'm surprised because Harry's caused a lot of trouble in the past. I'm surprised he hasn't been expelled years ago.
Yeah, he's lucky. I was lucky that the school is even open.
Yeah. No, but you think the amount of times he's put his life in danger and other people's lives in danger, you know, you'd think he'd be expelled years ago. Although saying that Hogwarts is shit when it comes to health and safety.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if the kids' lives are in danger, you know, the school has to stay open. It's kind of interesting because they did the same thing in Chamber of Secrets. Dumbledore had to leave in that one.
Mm.
May not like it, Minister.
Dumbledore's got style.
That guy Jamaican.
Yes.
I love this scene, like the way they did it in the film. Like they keep putting up these
Signs.
Yeah.
Umbridge is now the head of Hogwarts.
She's such a killjoy, you know. She's a control freak.
Mm. Yeah. And there's nothing that the students or anyone can do to really stop her.
It's kind of weird. She kind of reminds me a bit of my second headmaster. I remember my first headmaster at my secondary school. He was a really nice guy, quite laid back. But I remember when we got our new headmaster, like everything changed. Like he changed the timetable. He kind of changed his whole attitude was completely different. He was a lot more strict. I mean, I'm kind of glad I left after I did my GCSEs because, you know, I mean, he was just a terrible headmaster. Like, you know, yeah.
She's just sitting there drinking a cup of tea.
Isn't me, but she, like it seems like the power's kind of gone to her head.
Yeah, I mean that was the only reason why she came in, just to drive.
She's sitting on that chair like it's a throne, like she's some kind of emperor or empress, you know.
Yeah, she's just trying to like knock down Hogwarts, I suppose.
Yeah.
Stop the magic school.
Mm. The only thing magic is the fact that she's still there.
What Cho? What Umbridge?
Umbridge. Why did she rat out Harry?
Well, it wasn't technically her fault. Like they interrogated her, and they gave her the truth serum, and she blabbed.
Wait, surely that's unethical.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you know what Umbridge is like.
Well, I mean, looking at them in this film, they really have, grown up. I mean, they really do look like, they are young. They are basically young adults. Well, I mean, they're not adults yet, but I mean that they are, pretty much physically now. They're becoming adults, and it's kind of interesting to see how they've changed over the 5 films.
Oh, Centaurs.
Wasn't the last time we saw them in Philosopher's Stone?
We saw one of them, yeah.
Can you imagine like when Hermione said, Hagrid's, what's going on? Like Hagrid said, you know what, Hermione, I'm fed up explaining everything to you. Why don't you go and fucking find out for yourself?
Yeah. Funny, I love this. Graw, Hagrid's half brother.
The CGI for this hasn't dated that well.
What you mean hasn't aged well or dated well?
Well, both hasn't aged that well.
Wait, sorry, I look confused. Are you saying that the CGI hasn't aged well?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. You still contradicted yourself there. I was like, what? What is he talking about?
Well, dated well means, it hasn't. It's the same thing as age, but I suppose, whatever.
Really?
Who gives a fuck?
Michonne?
Oh god, this is the second time Hermione's being confronted by one of these big trolls. Troll.
Put me down.
This reminds me a bit of King Kong.
Well, just because he's holding her.
A bit, yeah. Can you imagine if he just like took Hermione and ran up the Empire State Building? That would be funny. Then Jack Black appears. It was beauty that killed the beast.
Cool.
He likes Hermione, doesn't he?
Does he's sort of taken to her a little bit?
Got a bit of a boner.
Can't blame Ron for getting jealous.
Why would you get jealous by that big lummox? I mean, let's be honest. Hermione's never going to go for him.
Well, no, of course not. Crush her.
I think his dick would be way too big for her.
Say that again.
You'd probably get crushed under it.
Oh,
I like
I've seen
this. Oh, this is a really. Oh, it's really nice that they've cut to this flashback from Philosopher's Stone. It's interesting because that film, Philosopher's Stone, came out 6 years before this film, but in some ways it kind of feels longer because they've, they've aged so much. In your opinion, do you think they'll ever make Cursed Child into a film?
I don't know. At the moment, No, but maybe in about 10 years or so, I would say. But it depends. It really depends.
I heard Daniel Radcliffe say he doesn't want to do any more Harry Potter films. He said he's kind of moved on. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if they didn't do another one. I mean, Cursed Child isn't even a proper novel; it's a stage play.
This is quite a good scene of Snape. How he looks into Snape's memory, and we discover that Harry's dad was actually a bit of a prick towards Snape.
His dad was a dickhead. No, sorry, not Harry, but Snape is a dickhead, calling his dad a swine in front of Harry.
Yeah, Harry's dad was a bit of a show off.
I think he just did it to be part of the crowd.
Hmm.
Snape's always been a dick to Harry. You know, you think he'd lighten up. Like, I could not imagine, like, Snape going to the pub afterwards and, like, having a beer with him. He's just not that kind of guy. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What, you gone, buddy?
Oh, sorry, no. Dozing off. I'm getting a bit tired now.
Yeah.
What's that?
It is dragging quite a bit. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but, like, just nothing much has really happened so far, you know. It's not bad, but it's just, to me, I don't know, like, Order of the Phoenix, like, so far, it feels a bit empty, if you know what I mean. Like, there isn't much going on.
I totally understand that point. I think over the years I've watched it, it does feel a little bit more, exposition heavy, I suppose. But this scene is great. This scene at the end is great.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I rush back to actually. Order of the Phoenix. I always tend to stick more to some of the others.
I can understand that. I mean, it's still a good film, but I do think it is a bit too exposition heavy, and not a huge amount has happened during the film.
But I think the climax is really enjoyable. I think you'll enjoy the finale of the movie.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I do like the finale from what I remember, but yeah. It's weird because when I was doing exams in the study hall, the only thing that happened, which was a bit distracting, was a pigeon came in and flew up near the roof. Fred George.
Their final farewell to Hogwarts.
Oh, they're leaving that year, yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's their last year anyway. So and they thought, fuck it, we've had enough of Umbridge. Just get out.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in secondary school, like people in their last year in sixth year, they would do this thing called muck up day, where they come into the school like a day before they left, or like a few weeks before they left, and they come in and they just fuck around. Like, I remember one time someone came in dressed as Mr. Blobby, and like they were throwing eggs, and like they were like getting water pistols and stuff. Like, in fact, they did go a little bit too far. Like, one of them made piss bombs, but God.
Oh, love that all the signs fall down.
This is like a muck up day except for wizards. Umbridge is just a totalitarian.
Yeah. What about W, the Weasley?
Imagine if it said fuck.
Even Flip was cheering.
Imagine if it said fuck you, Umbridge. Harry's got PTSD.
Oh shit.
Sirius Black. It's an interesting scene.
Whether it's real or not is another question.
Serious. So, I thought, it's like, take God. I'd seen Sirius said he was after something didn't happen last time. There's one mystery.
It's really weird seeing the walls bare, like without the portraits. Really, like, dull. Now things are finally getting tense. This is an enjoyable film. It's but it's not the best of the series for me. It is a slight step down after the Goblet of Fire, but you know, I would never turn away the Order of the Phoenix. You know.
Fuck's sake, blaming Harry again.
Oh, you're gonna go to Dumbledore.
What a bitch. Slapping him. If it was me, I'd report her for child abuse for slapping me.
Yeah, she hates children. She's a really nasty piece of work.
Yeah. If I would Snape, I would turn her into a frog permanently.
I mean, I think she is definitely the highlight of this film.
Yeah, the actress does a very good job. Apologies.
Hey there.
No. Hasn't been the quickest Harry Potter film.
No, there's good moments in some, but it is yeah, it's quite a gloomy film as well.
Yeah. I would have made Snape the head of the school. He would have been better than her.
Yeah. I think she's officially appointed from the ministry, so she has the power to do what she
I
wants.
got the power! Power! What was she going to do to him?
She was going to torture him with the Cruciatus curse.
It's like... It's literally, she's torturing children, for fuck's sake. This is a sadistic, evil woman.
Yeah, totally.
I have to say, Emma Watson's definitely developed in the breast department.
Yeah, she has.
There's been a lot of magic going on up there.
Oh dear. Rourke isn't there.
It's weird because she's such a nasty person, but she wears pink and she likes cats and all this stuff. It's weird.
Behind that pink fluffy exterior. there is something really evil. That's why I love her character. She's genius, I think, her character.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching her with the Phoenix, she was definitely the highlight of the film for me. And watching it again, she's definitely the highlight as well.
Imelda Staunton plays her perfectly, I think.
Yeah. Interesting to see the Centaurs return from Philosopher's Stone.
Well, Philosopher's Stone was only one centaur. It was a friend of Hagrid's.
Well, yeah, well, that's true, but I mean, but we still had one anyway. Oh wow, not a nice woman.
Fuck!
She likes to abuse animals, does she?
Oh no, you won't.
Oh, I get it. A pun. Order, like Order of the Phoenix.
I don't think it was meant to be a pun, but to take it out, you will.
That was a great scene. Like, I will have order. Like the way she just snaps.
Oh,
Kind of funny to see her snap at the end.
he's a big baby.
If I would, I love the way she just gets taken away. Bitch deserves her comeuppance.
Bye. She does.
If I was that troll, I just step on her. And be like, "Whoops, I didn't mean that."
Oh, we'll see her again. She'll be back in the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
We've got some sweets. Mm. We're on, you cheeky bugger. You know the character Luna. Who does she get together with, or does she not?
Luna, in the movies, I think she ends up with Neville. But yeah, I think that's what happened.
Should have ended up the other Irish guy, because then they could be like an Irish couple together. Well,
To stereotypical, I suppose.
and I suppose it would be, but it'd be interesting if like they got together like as an Irish couple.
Yeah.
I have to say she's kind of attractive, that actress. Who plays
Yeah, Lana Lynch. She's cute. I think she's a good-looking girl. I think she's slightly younger than Harry and one of Hermione. I think she's in like a year or two below them.
Oh. Flying skeleton horses. Huh.
I think they're called Thestrals. Can only be seen by people who've seen death. So Harry and Luna, I think, are the only ones that can see them.
Wait, so are the others just floating on? They just think they're floating on nothing.
I suppose so.
Weird.
It's weird how they just kind of enter in through the main entrance. Well,
I have to say, I do love this final scene here because I just love the set design, and it's a great final scene of the movie.
it is, and it's a very sort of scary atmosphere as we build up towards the final battle, and then the battle with Voldemort as well, which happens with Voldemort and Dumbledore have their duel. There are some great moments in the Order of the Phoenix, you know.
Yeah.
Even if some of the pacing in the earlier scenes is a little slow, fair enough. But
It's a film of moments, but it's still a good film.
I do have respect for David Yates, even if his direction isn't perfect.
Yeah. I will say, yeah, it's probably the weakest Harry Potter film that I've seen so far, but I haven't seen Half-Blood Prince, so I don't know about that yet. And I heard Deathly Hallows Part 1. Some people find that the weakest. I know Alan said that's his weakest Harry Potter film, but
Yeah. See, I actually prefer the Deathly Hallows Part 1 to this. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I know my friend said it was his least favorite Harry Potter film because he said not much happened in it compared to part 2, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Should be here.
Wicks, it's got your name on it.
Sticks, it's got your name on it. Can you imagine if they went into a one shop called Sticks?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like this scene when Harry finds the prophecy. The fact that, you know, it's revealed that only one or the other will survive. And, yeah.
Imagine if the prophecy was he was the chosen one, and then he became Darth Vader and wiped out the rest of the wizards.
And, yippee!
I can imagine like Ron like taking out Harry in a fight. Like, you were like a brother to me, Harry. It was said you would destroy Voldemort, not join him.
The scene is very good, actually. It's very creepy and like dark. The lighting's very eerie, but they've only got their lights on the wand.
Yeah. We were watching this scene and really loving the atmosphere in it.
Yeah, actually, also the Death Eaters. I know we don't really see them now to the end, but like his mask there was really cool. I like the fact that he just kind of took his mask off like the mist. Whereas in the design in the Goblet of Fire, the Death Eaters design was kind of just a bit bland. They just kind of walked around like skeleton people with masks, you know. Whereas these guys, they're kind of like float around a bit more. They kind of travel through like the smoke and all of that. If that makes sense. And I think the Death Eaters were redesigned and they were a lot better in this film. That's the one thing this film does do better.
Helena Bonham Carter is very good in this film.
Even though she's only in it for a few minutes.
That's true, yeah. I have to say she's much better than she is in Planet of the Apes. God.
That film doesn't exist, in my opinion.
Yeah, what were we talking about again? Oh, yes, Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, let's just erase that film from our memory. God. Fortunately, I got the Blu-ray box set, which includes that with the other 7 films. God. Tell you what, I'd maybe we should do an audio rant commentary on that one day.
Yeah. I have to access the film though, because I don't own it.
Oh yeah, you bought the Blu-ray and you sold it on. I can understand why.
What's it, 14 years?
I know.
The visual effects are very good, actually, for this film.
Oh yeah, they're great. Oh. Oh shit, she got blood all over her lip. Ugh. Wipe the blood from your lip.
Stupefy. Ron. Stupefy. Cat. I always thought Ron was a bit of a wimp, really.
Yeah, same. Especially in Chamber of Secrets, where he's like, Harry!
Spiders! Fuck.
Oh, Ginny's a badass.
I did like that last scene, when they were all like fighting the Death Eaters. Especially as there's like 6 of them as well.
I remember this scene where all the crystal balls start smashing.
Oh. Crash, bang, wallop.
Once have a love, and it was a gas. Soon turned out had a heart of glass.
the shards of glass.
Oh God.
And hide me from my past. And then there's still more. Still more fighting yet to come.
I'm a bit tired.
We did start quite late, to be fair.
Yeah. Next time I'll make sure that I'll get here earlier. Oh man.
That's alright. 1 hour 53 minutes. Not too long left.
Still another bloody 30 minutes. Ah! 25 minutes left.
In the book, this section goes on for so long. There's actually a moment where they all go into this room full of brains. Really weird.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like the finale for me just isn't as good as the finale of the other Harry Potter films. It's still good, but it's not as good as the other ones.
Yeah. It's not over yet, though.
Yeah, I know. Put your chopsticks away, lads.
Jason Isaacs is always a nice actor to have on screen.
No, he's a very good actor, very sinister as Lucius Malfoy. It's quite funny because he puts on a northern accent to play this general in the Death of Stalin, and he's hilarious. Well, he's good at the serious stuff, but he could do the funny stuff as well, surprisingly.
Yeah, I think he works great as villains. You know, he's very got that sort of voice.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't have found a better actor to play the father of Malfoy. I mean, I love his introduction in Chamber Secrets, where he's like, come, Malfoy, play nicely.
Well, Harry doesn't want to let his friends die. Just hands it over. Oh yes, love that. Get away, my godson.
You know what I like? He doesn't use a wand. He just punches him in the face.
Punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom was a bitch. Now it starts.
It's the Avengers!
Yeah.
I'm expecting Thanos just to arrive.
Earth's mightiest wizards.
I'm really expecting Josh Brolin as Thanos to arrive. Well,
I like the fact that in this film we get some wand fighting, essentially. We haven't really had like a proper wand duel.
yeah, it's because it's boring. Only joking. Swish and flick.
Like cackles she does.
Her laugh is hilarious.
Well, that sucks.
He's dying.
No, come back!
Oh shit.
Are you fucking serious?
That was a really well acted scene by Daniel Radcliffe. I love this scene.
I love how it's just the music and it all goes
They kind of did the same thing that they did in The Godfather 3, where you don't hear Al Pacino screaming, you just hear silence.
Yeah, I think it's very effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Harry said he was his only family he had left.
yeah. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of the ending of Godfather 3 where Al Pacino's screaming but you can't hear his voice and then finally you hear it at the end. I mean, if I was Harry, I'd finish her off. You know, I wouldn't care. But I mean, Harry isn't like that. He's not a murderer.
Oh dear. Here he is.
He's a cunt. He's a cunt. 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 Motherfucking cunt.
Do it. Good, Anakin. Good. Kill him.
Voldemort reminds me a little bit of the Emperor. When he tells him to do it.
Two greatest wizards in this universe are now going to have a great big fight. This is awesome.
Oh, interesting. Who do you prefer as a villain, Voldemort or the Emperor?
Oh, it's a hard question. I don't know. Maybe the Emperor.
Yeah, probably. I agree. But I like Voldemort as well.
Yeah. I think this fight is absolutely spectacular.
Use the Force! It's funny because he's got like a red wand effect and he's got a blue. You imagine how Dumbledore just sacrificed himself? He's like, the Force will be with you, Harry, always. This is a good fight, actually. It's quite cool.
Oh, he's got the massive ball of water.
Why don't you, go for a swim?
Fucking hell, look at that. Shattering glass.
How the fuck is Voldemort not, like, shredded to pieces?
I have no idea.
Thing is about Voldemort, he likes to think that he's the greatest wizard, but let's be honest, the greatest wizard, it's not even Dumbledore, it's Harry.
Yeah. But Harry became the greatest wizard over many years.
That's true. Kind of like Luke in Star Wars. It took him a long time before he became the greatest Jedi of them all.
Yeah.
One thing I hope they don't do in Rise of Skywalker is try and say that Rey's the most powerful Jedi now, or she's the most powerful Jedi of them all, because it would just be insulting to me, really. Because, I mean, Luke was the one who flipping helped take down the Emperor and, you know, helped stop Vader. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know technically Anakin was the chosen one, but to me, Luke. Well, I mean, they said it anyway that Luke is the most powerful Jedi of them all. So,
Yeah.
it's a good scene. I mean, what's happening to Harry?
He's kind of Voldemort's like trying to take over his body.
I'd say it's probably one of Daniel Radcliffe's best performances.
I would actually agree with that. I think he does really well in this film. He's trying to fight because there's a connection between them. And he's trying to fight him off. Like Snape was trying to teach him how to do that earlier, but that didn't work.
They could not have got a better Harry Potter than Daniel Radcliffe.
I agree. He's absolutely perfect.
Imagine if that was it. Lol.
I love the use of flashbacks as well.
Oh yeah, I like it too. Like flashbacks to the other earlier films.
Yeah.
Voldemort.
Oh. Ray Fiennes is good in this film. The brief moments he has.
When he said "I feel sorry for you," was he talking to Voldemort?
Yeah, he was. Said, "Oh, because you'll never know love or friendship. You know, you're weak, and I feel sorry for you." I mean, there you go, Fudge. If that ain't proof, I don't know what is.
Why is Voldemort such a bastard?
So it's just the way he is, I suppose.
He's just a psycho. I like that, the way it transitions to the newspaper.
I agree. This film is it's nicely done. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Umbridge suspended pending police investigation.
Dumbledore reinstated. Yay!
This is the second time he's been reinstated. The last time was Chamber of Secrets.
I guess he was, yeah. That was a difficult year for Harry.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have another year of shit ahead of him. He never catches a break, does he? There's never a year at Hogwarts where he just has an ordinary school year.
No, no, he doesn't actually. Yeah, there's always something that happens to him.
Yeah. That's one writing flaw, I guess you could say, J.K. Rowling, like the fact that Harry never has an ordinary year at school. But I suppose if he just did have an ordinary year at school, then it would just be boring because nothing would happen.
Yeah. I think Michael Gambon has got better. And I think after this, the next film is when he really kind of hits his stride in the Half-Blood Prince because he gets a lot to do in the next one.
Mm. I love the artwork of the old Harry Potter books. Like I love the artwork to Half Blood Prince, where you have Harry on the front, surrounded by fire with Dumbledore.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think that might be my favorite cover to a Harry Potter book. The cover of Half Blood Prince. Well, I love the cover of Deathly Hallows with like Harry, Hermione, and Ron and the treasure.
Yeah.
Me mateys. Still ever give Harry respect?
No, nobody does seem to respect Harry. Well, hopefully they will now.
You think the amount of times he's saved the school and he saved the day, everybody would owe a huge debt to Harry and be really nice to him, but it's like the school doesn't give a fuck. It's like, yeah, he saved us. Big whoop, let's move on. What happened to her face? Fuck.
Yeah.
What happened to her face? Was it the fight?
Luna?
Yeah.
No, nothing happened to the fight, and her shoes have disappeared.
No, there's marks on her head. What are they? Do you see those marks on her head?
Yeah. She's wonderfully quirky, that character. Luna.
No. I love the way she just skips away. She literally just skips away from Harry. Quite funny.
This is a nice moment when they all leave to go home. And the lighting here is fine. It's not too dark at all.
Yeah, it's quite bright, considering that most of the film's pretty grey.
Yeah, like the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Although saying that, I think the palette of this one is more dark.
Yeah. We're at the very end now.
It's weird because like it seems like each Harry Potter film the palette gets darker. Like Prisoner of Azkaban was dark, Goblet of Fire was darker, and then this one's probably the darkest looking color palette. But yeah, yeah, this is a nice scene. I like that shot there. That's a good shot. It's a nice way to end the film.
Yeah. Oh, because I'm getting tired now.
Yeah.
Good. Woo! Okay, so Order of the Phoenix. That was the fifth movie. So Jack, what were your thoughts?
Overall, Lord of the Phoenix, I think it's a good film. I'd probably say it's my least favorite Harry Potter film of the ones I've seen so far. I mean, that might change watching Deathly Hallows and Half Blood Prince, but I mean, it's still a good film. I think my only real problems with it is the story isn't as engaging as some of the other stories, and it does drag a bit. I do think the film does go on a bit too long, and I think it does have a bit too much exposition and stuff, but it's still a good film. I mean, I think Daniel Radcliffe probably gives one of his best performances, and I still think it's a very entertaining film. Like I like Umbridge as a character, but I just think the story just isn't as engaging as some of the others, and I think that it is a bit too long in my opinion. I think there are quite a few scenes in this that drag, and it does take its time to get going, but
Yeah.
it's still a good film, so I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, so you think it's a decent movie?
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I kind of agree with you. I think I like it slightly more than you do. I think it's. I mean, after Goblet of Fire, obviously, it's not quite up there, but I still really enjoyed this one. It's a good addition to the series, although it is one of the weaker ones. The final battle is all done really well. I like that in the Department of Mystery, and then Dumbledore and Voldemort's confrontation is great. That's all really good.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
The I agree. The colours are sort of grey. It does have a slightly depressing feel to it. It is.
Yeah,
More
I agree. Yeah. I think it is a little bit too humorless, but yeah.
Yeah, it does sort of struggle to be light, breezy at times. I mean, there's a couple of montages which are quite funny, but other than that, it is sort of quite a dark movie. It's very tonally, it's very different. So at times that can be a bit like, ugh, degrading. But I still think that the acting is really good. Daniel Radcliffe carries the movie. He's fantastic in this film. He really does do a great job. I like the addition of new characters such as Kingsley. Luna is fantastic. I love Luna. Dolores Umbridge is just phenomenal as the villain. I think Imelda Staunton is great, and she makes the movie for me. She really does. The kiss scene,
I think Umbridge is the best character in the film.
yeah. The kiss scene is nice, although the relationship is not developed, which is a shame. Um, the music score is very good, as we're listening to it now. Not quite as good as the John Williams scores or even Patrick Doyle's score from the 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it's still a decent score, and it works for the movie. I think the production design is fantastic as always. David Yates. Now, this is an interesting topic because this is his first movie of, well, at the moment, I think 6 movies, and he's going to be making the next 3 Fantastic Beasts movies. I mean, his direction will improve as time goes on. But his direction here is good, but it's there's some hesitancy. He's not as confident in the director's chair as Chris Columbus was, Alfonso Cuarón, or Mike Newell. For his first entry, it's a little bit more reserved, I think, and that comes across in the way the film is. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think he does handle it. I mean, all things considered, he handles it pretty well. He handles it well because the book is so big. I do think, yeah, maybe the pacing is a little slow in places. Maybe it could have lost a couple of minutes, but it's actually one of the shorter films, which is surprising. I think Ron and Hermione are good. I mean, in a way, Ron and Hermione kind of get a little bit sidelined in this film. They don't do as much as they used to do or will do in the future films. This is a good, solid entry to the series. It tells the essential story, and it works. It's not perfect, far from it, but it's good. It's good enough. It'll do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, the opening is good with the Dementor attack. That's also a very good sequence. Yeah, and I like the idea of the themes of friendship and the idea of rebellion. Them standing up and taking against Umbridge and forming Dumbledore's army. That's really cool. The death of Sirius is done well. That's also done very well. Very sad, very poignant moment. Gary Oldman is good as Sirius Black in this film. It's good. It's a good film. It doesn't have the epic grandeur of the Goblets of Fire, but it is good, and it does have a lot going for it. But it is one of the darker films, and even though they do add some humor, it's very much more serious this time.
Yeah, and I do agree with Hermione and Ron getting sidelined. It would have been a lot better if they got more to do, but oh well.
Yeah. But also, seeing the Ministry of Magic for the first time is great as well. So there are some very important moments in the Order of the Phoenix, and there are some very impressive things in it. But overall, as a film, it's not as impressive as the first 4 movies and the last 2 movies for me. It's on equal footing with Half-Blood Prince. It is one of the weakest, but I would still take this over Fantastic Beasts any day.
Yeah, I have to say, I do find this film a bit disappointing after the first 4 films, but it's still a good film. It's not terrible.
Yeah, and just to close off, my final rating for this would be an 8 out of 10. I think it's good, it's solid, especially the humorous moments with David Bradley's Filch is good. But I think the best of the series is not here. I think the best of the series is scattered around. So, but it is a good addition to the series, and if it was ever on TV or anything, I'd watch it. But if I chose to watch it out of my own back, I would have to be in the mood for it. But yeah, I mean that's kind of it really. That's kind of all I've got to say about Order of the Phoenix. Yeah, the credits are rolling, and yeah. What about you, Jack? Is there anything you want to say?
Not really, just it's definitely not one that I would rush back to.
Yeah.
And even though it is a still good film, I do think it has pacing issues, and I do think it could have been better. But it's still a good film. It's still got merits in it.
Yeah. So I would take this film over. I would take it over the Half-Blood Prince, and I would take it over the 2 Fantastic Beasts movies. But that's just a personal preference. I know some people do really like this film, and some people do rank it higher, surprisingly. But when it came out, it often was regarded as the weakest. But no one hates it. No one says it's shit or anything. They just think, oh, it's just not as good as the others.
I think the only one in the series that has kind of got shit on by the fans or the critics and the fans, is Crimes of Grindelwald. But I mean, I don't know about that one. I mean, that may.
Even then, there are some people that do still defend it. You know, some people that like Harry that do like it and do defend it and do dig it. But for me, it will never be as good as Harry Potter. So I still think Order of the Phoenix is more enjoyable than that. But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, as for Order of the Phoenix, it's a solid film, but it's definitely not my favorite Harry Potter film. But it's still good. You know, none of them are bad. Like I said, they all range from good to excellent. So, all I have to say is kind of wrapping up now. Since the credits are over, I'm looking forward to Half Blood Prince. And be interesting seeing that. And I'll be reviewing Prisoner of Azkaban soon. So, if you want to check out my channel in the next week or two. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm tired. My Prisoner of Azkaban review should be up. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we'll call it a night. Thank you all very much for watching and listening to our commentary on Order of the Phoenix, and stay tuned for our commentary on the Half-Blood Prince. So until then, thank you guys all for watching and listening, and as always, I am Ollie, this is Jack. Mischief managed.